I had a boss who knew I was going on a sales call. And then when I checked back in, he's like, so did you ask X, Y, and Z? I'm like, no. He's like, I bet you know their dog, you know their name. I'm like, exactly. I
Yeah.
knew who the person was as a human. I wasn't there to go, give me the checklist of, did you answer X, Y, and Z, qualified
Right.
or not qualified, and move on? Because there's something to, as we know in sales, right? A maybe is death. You want to get to the no as quick as possible. But in relationship building, you're curious about the human. You're
Right.
curious about where could this connection go, as opposed to how quick can I get you to say yes or no on this call? And then it's a transaction onto the next one. I'm like, no.
Hello, and welcome to the Influence and Growth Mastery Podcast, where high-performing CEOs and entrepreneurs learn to scale smarter. I'm Tanya Gossage, founder of Gossage Consulting and the Power Connectors. Right here, every week, you're going to discover the real strategies in referral marketing, authority building, and AI-powered automation to help you attract high-ticket leads and grow through smart connections, not cold outreach. Hello and welcome. Today I have with me Greg Wasserman, and he is a relationship generator, a partnership builder, a community cultivator, and a podcast consultant. And if you're looking for a relationship, he's your guy. Today we're talking about connections and community. And Greg, I want to welcome you today. I'm so excited that you're here. It's so good to see you again.
It's a pleasure. And the way we became connected, right, is just the perfect story of today's conversation that everyone hopefully walks away with good insights with.
Absolutely, it is. I met you a few years ago in exactly what we're talking about, a community, the Cast Magic community. Some of you may be familiar with Cast Magic, but you helped them roll out their community into what it is today. Now you're working with a podcasting community. What I love so much about you, Greg, is your passion, your love for people. You and I have so much in common, and I always love it when you and I get together, kind of geek out about that. But let's go ahead and get into your story so we can share together today. But one of the things that about your story is you call yourself the guy who knows someone, which I love that. I wanted to do the air quotes, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. But you call yourself the guy who knows someone. When did you first realize that you had that connector superpower?
I mean, since I was a kid, it's true. Part of it comes from my mom, and full recognition to mom. If you ever listen, thank you. But I get that from her because we're just social. We're social people, and it was always around, not a matter of here's my clique and I can't talk to this other clique, but it was always I was part of many groups. I always wanted to connect with people. I wanted to bring people together, and I saw like my birthday is always the greatest day only for this one moment, whereas I can bring all the groups of people together and go, great. Instead of I only hang out with this group on this day or this group on this day and I can't mingle them all together, I get to do that on my birthday. And now you guys get to meet. And that's been who I've been for as long as I can remember.
Gosh, I love it. And so that wraps into your overall story as well, right? For how you came together from Chicago, and do you want to start there too, sharing your full story from your roots of your marketing degree? Do you want to share that as well?
I mean, my background is born, as you said, from Chicago, came out to LA and where I'm still at for college and just never left. Ended up in the advertising world. So I spent the majority of my career doing ad sales. And part of that is sales, right? So from a sales standpoint, you always have a number that you're trying to hit, quota, a boss that's above you saying, why aren't you doing more? And you going, why aren't you helping me do more? Whatever it may be, right? We all know the fights in that one if you're in sales.
Yeah.
But for me, it was always, I don't want to sell. I've always been honest. I'm not the guy who could sell ice to an Eskimo unless for some reason they're in Southern California, like, hey, I need some ice. But that's just never who I've been. So for me, it's always been, how do I understand who you are, what you need, what you're trying to accomplish, and go, okay, maybe my solution's able to do this. I got to figure out what is the angle so I can understand. At the same time, realizing you're not going to be a fit for everyone at the same at every time. So how can you learn from the other sellers in your community, going, all right, you guys, who are you talking to? What do they need? And then we can save each other all the headaches and the cold emails, even though your boss is going to go, why aren't you reaching out to this person? It's like, I don't have to. I already know what they need. And for me to reach out, I'd rather go spend the time with another relationship than trying to cultivate this one that's not going to work at the moment. Right. So it's just putting that lens on it, which, when you have, most of the time you have bosses that don't understand, because every boss is going to go, we got to hit numbers. They should be buying our stuff. Why aren't they buying it? You realize they're not buying it because it doesn't make sense. Their goal is X, Y, and Z. We do not provide that solutions. Why are we trying to do this? And that was my logic, right? And there's maybe someone out there's like, case in point, the boss who realized, no, you should be doing this. And it just was never my time. So for me, it was always, the philosophy was, life is about time and relationships. I want to know who you are, because we're going to build a relationship, because most of us will not spend our entire career at one company. So how do we actually go ahead and say, you know what, when you leave this company, maybe my solution's now good for you. Or you leave this company, you went in a completely different industry. Cool. I like you. You were good. I want to see you succeed. I wanted to help you however it is. And that's always been my philosophy. Hasn't always been the easy way, because you always have these numbers to hit. I've been successful in that. And it diverts from what your internal bosses want you to do. But those true leaders will help you and understand that. And that's really where my career has kind of taken me.
I agree with you so much there, because I've always said you don't have to sell when you're building relationships. The relationship actually closes the sale for you. That's always been my philosophy. It's like, okay, you've got these numbers that you have to meet, and I can meet the numbers by going out and having conversations with people, building that relationship. And during that conversation, I'm like, nope, this one's not it. Go to the next one, start building that relationship. And by finding out exactly what they're looking for, what their needs are, and do I have something that can help them? And if so, then it's easy for me to have that conversation. But when it's just not the right fit, I can't give somebody something that's not right for them. I just cannot do it. I feel like the integrity's off there. And then pounding that phone to 200 calls a day, oh, that's just, I'm like you, that's just not for me.
And I think that becomes the next piece, where it's like, great, if you're able to provide value to someone, and that's what I would love to do. It's like, here, my emails, most of my emails start off with, what did I do this weekend? I want to create a relationship and connection, so that it's not just, hey, I'm trying to sell you, or here's a white paper, or here's whatever kind comes off salesy, because we're humans. I knew many sellers that have gone and they throw in memes into their emails, or they're throwing GIFs or whatever it may be as a humorous piece or a video to YouTube, and that's their form. That's never been my style. I don't speak in those, right? But it's always been, how can I provide value, and how can I help you and create connection? Good example is, if as we record this today, there's someone that I'm working with who came to me, and they were looking for advice, and they're looking to switch their company. And either we can provide the solution or we can't, but I'm giving him free consulting, free guidance. And he's probably going to end up coming to us just based on, he likes the way we're doing business, how honest and truthful it is. And I'm being honest, like, I may not have the solution for you, what you need today. Give me a couple of months and I might have that. Can you wait? Great. If you can't, then hey, I totally get it. Once again, life is about time and relationships. The timing's not always going to be perfect for, quote unquote, the sale today, or the opportunity, the ROI, however you want to mentally think about it. But if you have a relationship, you have no clue where that's going to take you and how you quote unquote measure ROI based on any relationships you have. I don't know. It's here's a good one for everyone. Are you the kind of person who goes to a restaurant and it goes out with a friend, platonic friend, and go, you know what? I got dinner's on me. Or are you the person who's like, nope, we're splitting check? And most of the time, I'm the former versus the latter because I know the next time they'll take it, and the next time, and over the course of 10 years, 5 years, whatever that relationship is that I'm hoping is going to be a long time, it's going to be evened out. The karma
Right.
banks are being built. The dollar is being, openly even. But if you reevaluate and go like, I'm giving more than I'm getting, then that's a different conversation. But I always try to give and give and give because I know the get will come.
Exactly. Absolutely. The more value you give, that's the Zig Ziglar way, right? Give, 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 and then eventually it will come back. You talked about you like to maybe open it up with how's the weekend? How's your weekend going? And curiosity. One of the things that I heard on, I think it was a podcast, and it may have even been a training about human behavior. But one of the things that I've started doing, and I've really noticed a huge difference in this, so many people say, hey, how are you? Everybody says that, right? And we don't even pay attention to it because everybody does it. So, one of the things that I've started doing, and this has been a game changer, is before I start a meeting, or if, like, for example, when you come on or whatever, I might start with, hey, Greg, tell me something good that's happened today. Or before we get started, what's good going on in your life? It always throws people off. I mean, always throws people off because they're not expecting that. They're going, good, something good. And I did that to a podcast guest not too long ago. Never met the guy, was an influencer. He'll be coming back on here before too long. And I cannot even tell you, we were scheduled for 30 minutes. We spoke an hour and a half. I cannot tell you how much I learned about this guy.
I
Loved
mean, look,
him.
with you, let's be honest. I
I
do
know,
that with you all the
right?
time, right? Yeah.
I know,
Anyone that
right?
knows you knows like we have to. If you're listening to this podcast, it's a major cut down of probably the pre call that happened before we jumped on, and then
Yeah.
anytime that we're talking thereafter. Yeah.
Well, I learned so much about him. I really did do more listening than I did talking in this call, but I fell in love with this guy. The conversation was so awesome. And we changed the name of the podcast like 3 times, but it's going to be so good. But literally, just saying that, when I said, tell me something good, that tell me something good started his conversation. And he was like, wow, I don't know that I've ever had anybody ask me that, you know, and he loved it. But I've started doing that because it has really changed the trajectory of the calls. And so that takes me into, you mentioned being driven by curiosity. How does that play into building meaningful business connections for you?
I had a boss. It gets the story to how curiosity helps me understand and build relationships. I had a boss who set up a call, knew I was going on a sales call. And then when I checked back in, he's like, so did you ask X, Y, and Z? I'm like, no. He's like, I bet you know their dog, you know their name. I'm like, exactly. I
Yeah,
knew who the person was as a human. I wasn't there to go, give me the checklist of did you answer X, Y, and Z, qualified
right.
or not qualified, and move on. Because there's something to, as we know in sales, right? A maybe is death. You want to get to the no as quick as possible. But in relationship building, you're curious about the human. You're
Right.
curious about where could this connection go, as opposed to how quick can I get you to say yes or no on this call, and then it's a transaction onto the next one. I'm like, no, I'm not looking at you as a transaction. I'm looking at you as a human, a full person that has we'll go down the mental health route. You got back traumas, you've having a bad day, you've got big good wins. whatever you are showing up to today is not the person you're going to be tomorrow. That's just a natural evolution of humanity in this regard. So if you're curious, you're like, great, let me learn this person. I think when I was running the Cast Magic community, I would do 3 group demos a week. And the whole point was so I can bring in multiple people. But even before we jumped on that demo, I was looking at who this person was. I was going into their LinkedIn, their business. So take you for an example. I'm like, all right, who's coming in my call so I can already understand what I think they're trying to use this product for so I can tailor it to them. But B, there's 4 people on this call. Is there a connection that can already make because, hey, you're using my tool for a purpose, but you're coming here, and this is why I say I'm a humanization expert, because I want to take a product and not just look at it as a product that serves your needs, but as a company that now creates a feeling, an emotional connection to this didn't just solve one problem. This created all these other opportunities for me. And when you start having that curiosity of how do we bring people together? How do we think about what they're working on? Or what services could I provide that's not just my company? That creates such an emotional connection, creates that generation of the relationship that you don't know where it's going to be. But as what Maya Angelou says, people don't remember what they said. They remember how they make them feel. If I can make you feel good, then it goes back to, I want to be the guy that goes, you know what? I like Greg. He may not have the answer to this question, but I guarantee you he probably talks to enough people that he might know someone that has this. I'm going to reach out to Greg and ask that question. That's the duality of that is they were able to ask for help, which is a huge thing. So you've been able to create maybe a muscle in them to want to ask for help. The second thing, you're the person they're coming to ask for help. Like, if you can have that impact on a person and be able to provide that, mic drop.
Absolutely it is. And what I want the audience to understand here is that may have been 2 warm connections for you that you might just have connected for somebody as a referral. But let's use me for an example. You just took 2 warm connections for you, but you connected me to a cold connection. But because you being a warm connection to me, I know you, I like you, and I trust you a lot. And because you just introduced me to somebody that's cold to me, but warm to you, that connection or that introduction feels warm to me, even though I don't know the person. But the way that you're introducing that person to me, maybe after the workshop or webinar, whatever it is going to feel extremely warm because of the way that you did it. That's one of the things that I try to teach every single week in my networking meetings is the way that we introduce 2 people, is making that
100%.
feel like a warm connection, even though that you don't know them. And in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, when you do it in that manner, the success rate of closing the business has just been shot up because you being the middle person of the way that you did that connection, you just reinforced that know, like, and trust factor tremendously. You helped
There's
make that closing right there by the way that you introduced somebody.
there's so much in that you're leaving on the table for everyone that's listening, because there's, I guess, 2 things that I call out here, because you get it. You understand, if you know, like, and trust me, if I'm making an introduction, you're like, there's probably a reason for this introduction, and you know how to run with it. And that in itself is a skill. I see too often people that I make an introduction to that I tee up, and we'll talk about how I even do that, but I tee up these introductions and they drop the ball because, not that they don't respond, they don't know what they're supposed to do. I get the responsive scene is thanks for the introduction, and then they go straight into their sales pitch. I'm like, no, I get them on the call so that you can create that. If you think this is just a transaction that I'm making an introduction to, then you are harming my know, like, and trust, because no, I'm all about relationships, and you're not creating this as a transaction. That just sounds icky. And the other side is not just the pitch, but it's like, oh yeah, it's great to meet you. If you love to jump on a call, I would love to do that. You're now asking a question. It's like you should automatically respond. Here's my link, or
Here's
here's
my
my link
link.
to calendar, and let's jump on a call. Like, so too often people aren't trained on that mentality of how to do that, and they're dropping that major ball. That is a skill that you and I possess, and I think more people need to understand that. And then there's the flip side of, I'm now seeing a lot of AI introductions, and that I'll take the call because, hey, everyone, I'll talk to anyone because I don't know where it's going to go. But if it's an AI introduction where it just feels like there wasn't, you weren't providing me why you know, like, and trust me and why I should be talking to this person. Instead, you're just using an AI going like, oh, you guys should talk, and it's automated. That does discredit to you as the introducer. But us, at least me, I'm going to go and run with it. Go like, great, I'll talk to anyone. So the way you introduce people has to be done. It creates the value back to you, but also creates the value for those two people.
Yeah, so two schools of thought there. So once that introduction is made, one of the things that I like to do is follow up and make sure that they did connect. And if that ball was dropped, I'm encouraging one of them to reach back out and follow up with somebody, because I would not have introduced had I not thought that a transaction was going to be made. I would not
Or
have,
just a relationship that
or a
later on would turn
relationship.
into something. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then on an AI introduction, one of the things that I have been teaching lately, especially to people who are not business owners, when I say people, business owners who are not used to making introductions, if they have to use artificial intelligence. So I just want to add some clarity to a type of AI introduction um, that I've been teaching, that is, if you need to use AI to do an introduction, go deep with that. If you're having to pull, let's just use LinkedIn. So if I go out and I'm doing an introduction and I'm going to introduce you to, I've got a friend who does press releases and helps promote people that have received awards or whatever. Actually, I've been sending her quite a few here lately. What I would do, since you two don't even know each other, what I might do is grab your about section from LinkedIn and grab her about section from LinkedIn, or maybe even her alignable, and put them in Chat GPT. And I would tell Chat GPT that I'm going to be doing an introduction, but then I'm going to tell them, Chat GPT, I'm going to tell my Molly a little bit about the reason why I want to do the introduction. And I want it to analyze, I usually use the word analyze, the two about sections and do a introduction for me that would encourage both of you to want to connect to each other. And so anyway, that's pretty much the prompt that I would give it. And then after it creates that for me, then I'm going back in there and reading it again to make sure that it's in my tone. Of course, it already has my tone, but I'm making sure everything is just the way I want it. But I want it to be that you really understand why I want you to connect to her. And I want her to really understand what she's going to get from you when you two connect. And so that's an example of using two profiles. for
An
AI
introduction.
to
Yeah.
create the introduction. But, somebody might could tell, oh, well, she's used my profile, but it's not a generic AI introduction. It's really personalized to both parties. But hopefully that would help kind of clear up that it's not just AI saying, hey, you two should meet.
Which, once again, people are doing. So you're like, all right, you're
Yeah.
not helping yourself if you're doing
Mm-mm.
that. If you're
Mm-mm.
taking the extra step. And that becomes, I love the fact that you look at the follow-up. Hey, I introduced you guys. Did you guys end up connecting? Was this a meaningful relationship? Give me feedback going, I thought there was a there. Prove to me. Was there? And like, oh yeah, sorry. And someone may say, Greg, Tanya, I don't have the time to do that. It's like, no, you do, because that relationship that you're building, the connection you're building, is going to create the karma, create the bank that you need, as opposed to, I need the quick transaction, because you just don't know where any conversation is going to go and how many times you've had a conversation that has led to opportunities, or you've walked in a room that has led to opportunities. If you did not go in that room because you said, I don't have the time to, how much are you leaving on the floor? How much are you keeping your blinders on to go, this is the task at hand, and I don't have time? I always tell, back to your question about where does this come from, one of my best friends told me this advice early on. It's like, Greg, take any recruiter's call, because even if you are happy and you love your job, even if you're not looking for something, even if the job that they're giving you is not something that you like, would fit, they missed the mark, it's always good to have a conversation with a recruiter, because you want those people out there knowing you, having that conversation, so that you're in their database in the way with the notes that they've actually now created, that you could end up having the opportunity. Or when you are looking for something, there you go. Or maybe you're not looking, but they come to you with an opportunity. This is kind of, how do I not think about this? So if you say no, goes
Exactly.
back to curiosity. If you're saying no, what opportunities are you missing?
Hmm. Well, to me, it makes me think of the quote that you used from Jack Welch about trust, respect, and loyalty. You never know when the unexpected doors are going to open. You never know who's in the room. You never know when the next 100,000's coming, the next million is coming. Who's going to hire you? Who's going to introduce you to the next big thing? You never know.
If I had a crystal ball, we would not be talking. I'd be on an island somewhere, right? Like, I would have known to invest in whatever companies far earlier than I did. Yeah, exactly. If I had a crystal ball, that'd be amazing, but none of us do. So I say yes. Some of it could be a fault. We can look at it as a character piece, going like, you got to start saying no. It's like, I manage. I think more people need to say yes than more people are saying no.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You never know. I just had I don't even think I've had an opportunity to share with you, and I'm not going to share the whole story, but just going to tell you that not long ago I had a situation where I received an email. Someone wanted to run something by me, wanted to run a proposal by me, and I'm sitting here the entire time, and I'm like, when are they going to get to the thing where I'm going to ask a lot of questions instead of just saying, hurry up and put the contract in front of me so I can sign it. I'm like, I just, it was unbelievable. I could not believe it. And so you just never know. It was somebody wanting to leverage my network. They wanted to leverage my network, but I kept thinking, you leverage my network, I leverage your network. This is phenomenal. I'm not saying no. I'm saying let's run. Let's run and do this. So yeah. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people make when they ask for referrals? I'm sure you see that often.
Well, if I take your question, what's the biggest mistake people make when they ask for referrals?
Not
If we
asking.
take if we, exactly, right, the first thing is they don't ask, and that's become a change in both of our businesses, right? So I've always been someone who will make an introduction, but never understood, oh, you could make money as opposed to the know, like, and trust and goodwill on this. It's like, hold on, if I'm going to make an introduction and you close business, then just asking for the referral on that, and then you become business development rep, and no one's going to be upset with a freelance business development rep who's thinking about you and ways that they can help your business, which also helps them. So, but I think we've kind of touched on a bunch of the pieces where someone goes wrong with asking for an introduction. It's not knowing what they want. It's not understanding the introduction that's being made and why it's being made. How to follow up with the introduction after it's been made. I think those are the ones we've kind of covered, which is upsetting, but then you have to put your hat on and go, you know what? Not everyone's me. Not everyone, this comes natural. Like for you and I, we are natural networkers. Like we just want, you got someone, send them my way. I will talk to anyone. I'll make the time to figure it out. If it's not today, well, here's my calendar leak. Put some time on there and let's talk, because I don't know where this is going to go. The other one is trying to sell right away, but we've touched on that, is asking for a referral. Hey, can you introduce me to someone so that I can try and close them? Yeah, I'll make an introduction, and I think there's a good business opportunity, but everyone in my network is relationship focused. I mean, LinkedIn, when I use LinkedIn, people send me a message, or no, they'll send me a connection request without a message, and I'll accept and then come back to them and go, hey, nice to meet you. Great to be connected. Why did you reach out? Now, I understand statistically, I haven't checked on this if it's changed, but I know statistically, people have a higher likelihood of accepting a connection request without a message than with a message. But I have to imagine that has changed because everyone's getting bombarded with connection without true connection. And so if I want to connect, I don't want a follower. I don't want we're quote unquote connected. I had someone today ask me, hey, how well do you know this person? I looked at the person, like, this is someone in my former life. I don't really remember it too much. I black out some of that stuff, right? But like, you want less of those. Ooh, I don't know this person too well, or I have a network of 10,000 people, but I can only tell you about 100 of them. Then what's the point of the network? How's it really helping and serving anyone? That's the way I look at it, especially with social media platforms. You don't actually get to reach your 10,000. So if my engagement, my views aren't that high, but I got 10,000 people that are following me, it's a social media platform. They want you to boost it. They want you to do other things that will get them paid so you can reach the network that you've amassed.
Mm-hmm. I want to mention this because I think that it will be a good training opportunity for the audience. Mine for sure. I don't know about yours, maybe so. But like you say, people are sending connection requests without the messages. And for a long time, Greg, I would do what you were doing, send a message back. I would send the message. And then what would happen, because I would say, if you want to build a relationship, because I like building a relationship, let's connect. And then what would happen is I was filling my calendar till I was so busy. And then I was building a relationship. and then those relationships didn't really go anywhere other than a relationship. So what I'm saying is there was no revenue producing activity there. Now I have a relationship that could eventually come back. So once I was filling my calendar and then I couldn't get anything else done, I was like, okay, something has to change. So I made a decision that if I looked at the profile and I was like, this could result in something later, I'll just accept it. Then if they come back to me and say they want to build a relationship and with me and understand my business, then I will respond. But otherwise, I'm going to maybe connect, let it go, because I don't have time to fill my calendar anymore. And so then what I did was then after that, I went to an application process. You've got to go through and apply to work with me now. And so that helped me weed some of that out on my calendar. But it's a good learning tool for people if you are serious about building a relationship with individuals and want to understand what they do. Messages are important. Let people know why you want to connect with them.
I mean, that's so true. It's like, why are you sending me? If I'm the one that has to respond, if I'm the one that has to accept and respond, why'd you reach out? If you're then
Yes.
also making me do the work and I'm looking at your profile going like, oh, you work in X, Y, and Z, I can see the connection. Why don't you say that? Why are you making me assume or come up with my own brain power to figure out why you reached out in the first place?
Right.
It's annoying. It's frustrating. I guess I don't have the same. Maybe I'm not as cool or as popular as you. My calendar doesn't get filled to the level that yours does. But
Well, you have
yeah,
to realize that I'm doing 16 events a month. You may be doing, because you were doing a lot as well before. You may still be doing quite a few, but I do
I loved it. I
16.
mean, this is why we got to meet. I was doing one training a week with 3 demos, and a lot of those would be great. Let's do one-on-one calls and go from there. But if you think about the ROI from a company standpoint, all right, they're already customers, or I'm trying to get them in, but the retention was there. And that's the mindset that I had is, all right, they're customers. You're paying me now X for someone that's only spending $30 a month, whatever it may be. So the math may not work. I'm like, yes, but if I can keep them paying $30 a month for 6 more months, as opposed to them dropping off, that becomes a big thing. And that's exactly what I did here at rss.com is understand we've got to talk to our customers. If we're not talking to our customers, then they're just looking at us as a product. The products can be commoditized. What separates you from another product that's out there? It's the people.
The
Part of it is the
people.
technology. Part of it's the people. And if you are then creating an environment where not only the one-on-one connection with the people are there, but also you're now bringing in your community to have the connections that they're finding more value, then great. I see it all the time where they don't understand the value. And that goes back to the conversation we're already having here is like some people just don't have that mindset. And you have to lead the horse to the water, and some just may not ever get may never drink.
Mhm. Yes, and so I'm so glad that you transitioned into that because that's what I wanted to talk about is the communities that you have built, that drive revenue. What makes those communities truly valuable versus another Facebook group. And it's the leader, it's you, and being active in those and then driving having the events, but you were always posting in there too. I mean, you were keeping it close knit, and like you say, you were helping keep the people there in the community and keeping them paying $30 month after month after month after month. So those communities versus Facebook, the differences between those two. Would you say it's only that, or what else drives the
I think,
stickiness there?
yeah, I think there's so many community management tools that are now out there that most people started off in Facebook, partly because it's been around for a while, partly because everyone basically has a Facebook account and they've got the volume. What I don't like about the Facebook communities, and I'm in a bunch, is it's just a long strain of content. And most of us as consumers are lazy that we're not going to scroll, scroll, scroll. So if you've got just one channel and it's this never ending scroll, most of us aren't going back up. So you look at a lot of the other community tools that have come out there, and I've built mine in Slack for specific reasons. But there's a lot of tools that now allow you different channels. So I can go to a certain space and find the content that I'm looking for, as opposed to this endless doom scrolling, which is a habit that all of us are used to because we're used to the doom scrolling social. But when it comes to I'm in here to find information, I'm in here to create connection or whatever it is, I don't want to be scrolling. I want to be able to go where I need to go and get the answer, or scroll less because I've segmented the content out there. So there's a lot of value in Facebook. I know a lot of community a lot of businesses that have built their community in Facebook. And it's also free. So the mentality is, if it's free, it's for me. And is that really an investment? Are you actually creating a community and then investing in it? Probably not to the same level that if you were to do it in a different environment.
Yep, I love that. So as we're approaching the end of our discussion, I don't want to call it an interview because it's not an interview, it's a discussion. I love this.
It's your podcast as we get to wrap up this podcast. I'm
That's
working
right.
podcasting, so
That's
podcasting's
right.
key.
I love it. I love it. So good. So, Greg, if people want to reach out to you and connect with you, where can they do that at?
Please do. And I live on LinkedIn. I'm unfortunately one of those people who's do as I say, not as I do, right? I don't have a website. Y'all should have a website. I don't have a newsletter. Y'all should have a newsletter. I live on LinkedIn, and that's probably the best place. Or if you're going to start a podcast, I think every business should have a podcast. So if you start a podcast, rss.com is the place to start your podcast with. But the other reason is I literally will talk to anyone. But by reaching out to me and letting me know you heard me on your podcast, Anya, then I can go back to her and say, look, because as a podcaster or as a business, we all want feedback. We are all dying for some kind of feedback. Hopefully it's not trolling and it's actually just good, constructive, or positive feedback. But if you reach out, I can go back to you and say, look, someone's listening to your podcast, but not only someone, we now know who that person is.
That's right.
Which if you look at your analytics, you don't know who these individuals are. You can see who's reading your newsletter. You can see maybe who's engaging with the social, but from a podcast standpoint, it's kind of a black box in that regard. So please find me on LinkedIn, Greg Wasserman. You'll see it. As you started this conversation with, I'm a relationship generator, and that's top.
That's right.
It says time in relationships. So please reach out. I would love to talk. And in terms of what I can provide, there's so much. We're connectors. So who knows where that conversation goes? We either do business together or we help each other do business.
Absolutely. And he is great at that. He is so good. He is so good to connect with and have conversations with. And if you are listening and you have a podcast and want him on your podcast, which I highly suggest, then DM him once you connect with him on his LinkedIn. Do not DM him without connecting with him first, though, on LinkedIn. Okay.
No, you just do your note. You can do a connection request with a note saying like, all right, you got 300 characters to leave a note.
That's right.
And most people don't understand that is an option. They'll either click the follow button or they'll just hit the connect button. It's like, no, connection with a note. That's it.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. That's right. Greg, we appreciate you being here. It's been a pleasure for sure. And for those of you that are listening, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, whether you're listening on your favorite channel or watching on YouTube. And we appreciate it. Leave your comments as to what was your favorite point and or what you resonated with. And we will see you again next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Influence and Growth Mastery podcast. If you're ready to attract high-ticket leads, scale with AI, and grow through powerful referral networks, visit my website, gossageconsulting.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with any CEO who is ready to simplify, scale, and succeed without the burnout. Until next time, stay influential and keep building smart connections that drive the real growth. See you soon.